Nice balmy tropical day today. Yeah. Good morning, folks. Been a kind of a pain in the butt the last couple of days. The fairgrounds has a buried water system for running this wheel line over here. And when we buried this, I helped the guy do it. I don't remember for sure how big of a pipe the main line itself is. I think it's 5-inch. And it's pretty long. It goes all the way from over there by that power box under the ground over to here. So that's probably close to 100 yards. So that water, there's a lot of it in there. I don't know if you can see there's a little bit of reflection. It's only buried probably 2.5 feet deep, if even that. So I'm scared to death that that's going to freeze. And other years I've got a little water pump that I bought through Harbor Freight years ago. And I have taken this thing. Ouch. It's 12 volt. It's a tiny little pump, but it says it has a 23 foot lift, and it pumps 240 gallons per hour and self-priming. So all you got to do is hook this to a car battery and hook a garden hose up to the in and the out and drop it down in the hole. Yeah, right. So far, it's not working. The brushes I thought were bad. So I tore the thing all apart, and turned out the brushes were not bad, but the little spring that pushes the brushes against the little spinny part, technical terms here, was broken. So I uncoiled the spring a turn and fixed that so it works now. The motor runs fine, but the pump isn't pumping, and it's supposed to be self-priming, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So today I got this little Y. I'm going to put the garden hose down into the hole, and then another garden hose up with a funnel. I'm going to try pouring water in there as it's spinning and try to prime this thing. I don't know that I'm going to have any luck, but I'm sure going to try. And then I'm getting a late start with this because Cindy tells me this morning I can't find my wallet. I've looked everywhere. And I said, well, when did you have it last? I had it on Monday. Today is Thursday. So we've been all over town looking for her wallet, asking people and stuff, and finally gave up. We went to the bank, canceled her debit card and the one credit card she has, and went up to the police department there and ordered a new driver's license. We come back home, and my buddy Jack calls. I'm talking to him on the phone, and I told Jack, I said, I bet you she finds that thing in about an hour. Well, I was coming over to do this, and I looked up on the hood of her truck, and I said, well, you found it. She goes, what? I goes, it's right there. That's your wallet, ain't it? She goes, well, yeah, but it wasn't there earlier. And thinking back on it, it wasn't there earlier because we both looked. So somebody found it and put it on the hood of her truck. So she's got it back at least, but nothing in there is worth anything now. So anyway, whoever you were that found that, if you're watching this, thank you very much. I knew we should have waited a little longer, but you never know. A lot of crooks in the world anymore. You never know who's gonna be using the credit card or driver's license to buy something, or who knows what. So anyway, see if this dang pump will work or not. What a pain. It is a really handy little pump if you can just get it to prime. When it was new, I didn't have any trouble. It was self-priming, but not this time. About the size of a beer can. I mean, it ain't very big at all. Well, that took some doing. What a pain in the butt. But it's pumping. This is going to take quite a while to actually pump this thing out though, so now I gotta wait. Man, I didn't think I was going to get it. I had to keep refilling those antifreeze bottles, I think 3 times. Always some doggone thing to make life difficult, but at least it's pumping. Only trouble is, there is a lot of water in there. Like I said, this thing's supposed to pump 240 gallons an hour. I bet there's at least 500 gallons in there. So, what am I going to do for 2 hours? I can't really leave because if I lose my prime for some reason, it'll burn that pump up. I brought some magazines, but magazines and TV, that's for things to do when it's dark. It ain't dark. Thing I'm glad about doing this little pump, because it's 12 volts, I had to take this little red cover off my battery. And look how badly corroded that is. That's good to know before it quits running somewhere. I'll clean that up, but it's in use right now. I can't do that really right now either. Dang it. Guess I can walk down to the shed and rummage around in there for a few minutes. This spring, every year we have a horse and mule sale here. This April will be the 51st annual. This red building here is a outhouse restroom. Got of course toilets, but it has shower stalls and things. The silver shed, it's just a storage shed. It's got all the tools in there and things like motor oil and toilet paper, paper towels and whatnot, and a lot of doggone junk. And then down here, that other red building, that's a bigger restroom. And anyway, so after the horse sale this year, the plan is to tear down these restrooms and this silver shed. I gotta have a place to put all the junk that's in this silver shed. That's gonna kind of screw me up for getting that arena painted and the wire back up also, because I'm going to be moving things out of this shed. So I'm going to have to do that probably this winter. But I have nowhere to take it. We need another shed to take everything out of this one and put into that one. And we don't have that. So I'm kind of at a loss of what to do. The plan is they're going to tear out those bathrooms and then make them bigger, both of them. And where this shed is, they have to have a above ground, mound septic system. The septic tanks are grandfathered in the way they are now, but to remodel, we can keep them. To redo them completely, we have to have that mound system. And they've looked into trying to figure out how to remodel them, and there's just really no way to do it. The best thing is to tear that out. But man, it's going to be hectic. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on after April. Let's see, I need my key here. Look at this wad of keys. This is the stuff I got to carry in my pocket every day. Half of these are fairgrounds. You don't want to fall in the river. Anyway, there's things going on almost every day down here. We're going to have construction going and people in the way, and it is going to be a real nightmare, I'm afraid. But the only time to do it. In the wintertime, everything's frozen. We can't get it done then. And in the fall, there just really isn't enough time before things are frozen again. So that's the plan, like it or not. There's a lot of junk in this shed. And about half of it, turn the lights on here, about half of it is mine. I gotta go through all this junk and get rid of it. But buried back up under here, this is kind of my pile of stuff. I got marten stretching boards, I got coyote stretching boards, I got traps, I got metal detector, all sorts of junk. Anyway, what I walked down here for is that big box, that trunk on the bottom there. That was my dad's. Dad died in 1980, so that trunk, man, I don't know how old it would be. But I'm going to put that in the back of my truck and put some tools in it. Depending on how good it is, it might, I don't know, it might be too fragile for that. Cover it up, but I need to figure out some way of keeping everything dry. I have one of them fabric tunnel covers, they call them, or some such thing. I dug out of the dumpster, actually. I grabbed it for the Naugahyde. I never figured I'd have a use for it, but now I do. So I'm going to try to find out if I can mount that on there. I set it up on there, and it's about 3 inches too short for my truck. It's about a foot too long for Cindy's truck. So I'll have to try to fill that little hole in on mine or shorten the thing and make it work for Cindy's. Winter's coming fast. We're supposed to have a storm coming next few days and get some snow. I'd like to be able to have everything in the back dry, but I don't know. It's always kind of a problem in the winter. Now this box, pretty dark in here, you can't really see, but it's got some muskrat stretchers and a few traps and odds and ends in there. So it's relatively empty. That ought to work, but not today. I gotta keep an eye on that pump. This big building here, this is the indoor arena. Back in 2016-17 winter, we had about 16 inches of snow that was wet and heavy, and it didn't slide off the roof. And it collapsed this building, or, well, the building that was here before this building. Now this thing is roughly 100 yards long by 100 feet wide, or something like that. 300 by 100, if I recall. And it's set up for riding horses in. We have the horse and mule sale in here, and a lot of 4-H events and things like that for the fair. But when that building fell that winter, Fish and Game said that there was like an 80% die-off of the fawn deer and the elk calves in parts of Idaho. And I never heard officially if it was here or not, but that winter I personally found several deer and a couple elk that had died from winter, and that's not very normal. I don't normally find that. A couple of them were curled up in the snow like a dog, just froze to death, and those were adults. So they said that because of that big die-off that winter, it would take roughly about 5 or 6 years for the deer and elk population to bounce back. And it's been that long, but the trouble is that since then we've had several more bad winters. Last winter was fairly mild, but it drug on a long time in the spring, and that's usually when the deer and elk will die, because they you know, they've been kind of struggling all through the winter and the cold, and they're thinner, and it's just kind of the weakest time of the year for them, and that's usually when they'll kick off, if they're going to, is in the early spring, late winter. So I'm really hoping this year doesn't do that. I mean, there is no snow. Usually by now we have snow, but not always. Sometimes we don't get any until almost Christmas. So it's hard to say what's going to happen, but it sure is sad not being able to find a deer, let alone an elk. And I don't know, I just don't see it coming back anytime soon. Well, we're still pumping. I probably shouldn't have walked away from that, but I don't know. It's going to take a while. Well, my pump's not pumping. Not too hot yet. Well, there might have been less water in there than I thought, because I can see it in there. That's probably a good thing. Well, looks like most of the water's out of there. Good deal. The water line is supposed to slant this direction, but when we put this in, like I said, I helped him do it. We never really measured anything as far as for drop or anything, so I don't know that it really does. This one, this top piece, it's tight. That other one I can get off easy. This one I can't. There's some ice crystals down in there I can see, but the water looks like it's about half a pipe full. So if that freezes, it shouldn't crack anything. It's got plenty of room to expand. So tighten this down, and I think this job is done. That wasn't as bad as I thought, other than trying to get that pump to work. Less water in there than I expected there to be. So, not a very exciting thing today, but that's life, right? Thank you for watching it anyway, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.